Maybe I'm making a mistake? No, it's the doctors who are wrong.
So what you're saying is I'm indestructible. Doctor, oh, no, no. In fact, even a slight breeze could. Indestructible. I'm a big boy. I watch this episode all the time just to see that part. Is there anything that The Simpsons hasn't predicted? Move it, chowder head. Hysterical pregnancy? A little. This little cuddle bug is COVID-19. You also have several diseases that have just been discovered in you. It's chowder. You made me interrupt my kid's Zoom meeting when I laughed at remembering that. He's visibility struggling to breathe. What a dunce. Honestly, that picture they show Mr. Burns of all the viruses trying to get through the door and getting stuck is pretty much the entire Trump presidency, except with scandals. Maybe I'm immune, I don't know. Trump, yesterday. Tell me he didn't really say that. I can never tell anymore. He really said it.
I just left Walter Reed Medical Center, and it's really something very special. The doctors, the nurses, the first responders, and I learned so much about coronavirus. And one thing that's for certain, don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it. You're gonna beat it. We have the best medical equipment, we have the best medicines, all developed recently. And you're gonna beat it. I didn't feel so good. And 2 days ago, I could have left 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I felt great, like better than I have in a long time. I said just recently, better than 20 years ago. Don't let it dominate. Don't let it take over your lives. Don't let that happen. We have the greatest country in the world. We're going back to work. We're gonna be out front. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it. I stood out front. I led. Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did. And I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune. I don't know. But don't let it dominate your lives. Get out there. Be careful. We have the best medicines in the world, and they're all happened very shortly, and they're all getting approved. And the vaccines are coming momentarily. Thank you very much. And Walter Reed, what a group of people. Thank you very much.
Good God. What the F asterisk 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 even? I think it'd be more like, so, GASPS, what you're saying, WHEEZES, it's PUFFS, I'm indestructible, PANTS. Doctor, oh, no, no. In fact, even a slight breeze could. INHEAVES. Destruct. WHEEZES-table. I read this in Stevie Kinarban from Malcolm in the Middle's voice. Perfect. It's actually a quote of Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. This is the scene. It's a pretty good one. The quote happens near the end, around 150. Damn. I'm actually currently in the middle of rewatching all the Simpsons episodes and just watched this episode like 5 days ago. I'm disappointed I didn't recognize it. Thanks. I am invincible. How many eggs did it lay in your brain? Wow, I just watched that episode today. Wow, wow, wow. I just fell asleep to it last night. A warrior is what people are saying. I hear it all the time. They tell me he's the greatest warrior in probably ever. They've never seen a greater warrior. LMAO. I wonder how much percent he was acting when he was walking up from the landing strip, then up the flight of stairs. The world was looking at him like a hawk, one false move, and it's a media sensation. I don't understand why he would even risk it. Fuck, I wish I knew his thought process when he was halfway up those steps. There was no winning for him here. He didn't even cough once on camera, yet here we are. Now imagine if he stumbled on a step or passed the F asterisk 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 out. I will always upvote The Simpsons. You see, all your diseases are in perfect balance. If you have a moment I can explain. Checks watch well. Drug addicts behave like this. A much fatter and much less interesting version, Mr. Burns. I'm impervious to acid.
Our next guest gave us, well, actually very little information, besides the fact that he is impervious to acid. So here he is. He's here to prove it. Let's welcome this guy.
Let's do this shit!
Now, you're sure about this?
Eat my
I did not know that ass was on the menu.
Don't steal my moment! Do it!
Okay, then without further ado, drop him.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh, no! 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 Oh, my God!
Looks like I'll be eating ass flambe. Please kill me.
Oh my god, the tiny door frame and all the little cush balls that represent deadly diseases. Classic. Mr. Burns in The Simpsons. That episode is hilarious. D. There truly is a Simpsons quote for everything. Is this him on the meds? This is him on meds they do not generally give to people unless they are experiencing troubles. Also, Dr. Conley declines to comment on Trump's lung scans. They would brag if he had no lung damage, and here we see him struggling to breathe. Herman Cain was diagnosed on the 2nd of July and died on the 30th. My grandma got diagnosed 3 days before she died. She had a sore throat and suppressed appetite. No shortness of breath or anything. But before that she was perfectly fine. Luckily, she died in her sleep and didn't suffer. My condolences. My condolences. She died from COVID or something else? My grandma died about 7 days in. She was 74, COPD, and congestive heart failure. Massive heart attack. My thoughts are with all 209,999 other families. Both to you and you/JWWS1, I'm so sorry for your loss. My grandmother died almost a year ago to the day from lung cancer. It isn't the same as COVID, obviously, but it's still an illness that attacks the lungs. I'm bitterly thankful she passed when she did. I couldn't bear if she had gotten COVID on top of her COPD, emphysema, lung cancer, and the bouts of pneumonia that kept her in and out of the hospital. I can't relate entirely to your pain, but I understand the feeling you're more than likely going through. I wish you all the best. My trim 40-year-old coworker had Zoom drinks with us on a Friday and dropped from a COVID-related cardiac event on a Sunday. Excuse me, what? Fucking hell, I'm never leaving my room. Feeling good and dropping dead that quickly is a dream of mine. This cancer is too slow and expensive. Right there with ya, friend. Sorry to hear of your suffering, friend. Here's hoping for an improvement or even a miracle. Sending you love and hope either way. I'm with you. My prayers, Colonel, you got this. Man, I hope this is a joke and not in a that's poor humor way. I sincerely hope you're not facing that prospect. Passive ideation. I think the takeaway here is to avoid Zoom. It's everyone different. I'm only 33, but people younger than me have died from it with no apparent pre-existing conditions. Kind of scary. Neighbor's 35-year fit and healthy co-worker started feeling bad, went to get tested, came home, was encouraged by his girlfriend to take a shower to help clear out the junk in his lungs/ease his breathing. A few minutes later, girlfriend hears a thud, enters bathroom to find that he dropped dead in the shower. I had COVID for 10 weeks and I recognize that gasping all too well. The worst is yet to come. Jesus. Are you still feeling the effects, or are you back to normal now? Not op, but my mom had it in March/April for 6 weeks, and her symptoms keep relapsing even now. Like she will feel fine for a few weeks, then it will come back again, though not quite as bad as the first time. This disease is terrifying. I really wish more people were aware of the long-term side effects and not perpetrating the false dichotomy that either you have a 1% chance of dying or you're perfectly fine. There is a lot of shit in between. I know. I work in a pharmacy, and at the start of the pandemic I was still in a hospital pharmacy in Chicago, and it's absolutely terrifying how it seemingly goes from 0 to 100 in a matter of a day or two. The fact that we do not know the full long-term effects is scary. The fact that people die from mini blood clots in the lungs, have severe lung and cardiovascular damage, like how do you prevent that? What frustrated me more than anything was how blasé some of the pharmacists, nurses, and doctors I worked with were about the virus. I got out of there and into working in the oncology department at a veterinary specialty hospital. Best decision I ever did, especially when I found out that the hospital I worked at wasn't instituting social distancing, or masks or increasing sanitation protocols. It was only recently they stepped up on everything. I think when 4 people got it and half the staff had to quarantine, it finally opened some eyes. Can you elaborate? I'm sorry you've gone through this, while at the same time I'm hopeful for his suffering. My coworker still doesn't have her smell and taste back. She tested positive in the beginning of April. We worked closely together, grocery shopping for those too at risk, to go to the grocery store. Our customers wore masks, but we were not allowed to wear any mask at all until she got diagnosed. Then they became mandatory. I'm pretty sure I got COVID too. A week after her first symptoms I started to have headaches and chills. A week after that I got a fever and lost my sense of taste and smell, though that only lasted a couple of days for me, thank God. I couldn't get a test because I was too young / not at risk and did not own a car. Nobody has cared. No corporation, not even our president. It's sickening. If you lost your sense of taste and smell, coupled with any of the other circumstance you noted, I would say pretty sure you got COVID too is an understatement. It's like a no-doubter. When I smoked I always knew when I was going to get sick because the cigarettes tasted different. COVID isn't the only illness that F*** with your senses. Yes, but context matters. This person was working in close proximity to another who contracted COVID, and they weren't wearing masks. What they contracted was most definitely COVID, not some other illness. Until you know you have the antibodies, you have to assume you don't have it. Anything else is irresponsible to you and the people you love. Okay, could you explain why you think it's best to assume you don't have it? Wouldn't you want to assume you do have it so you can take proper precautions? You need to assume that you do have it and don't have it at the same time. If you act like you had it and you didn't, then you can catch it and put yourself and everyone you come into contact with at risk. However, acting like you do have it means that you don't need to take precautions to prevent yourself from getting it. You need to do both. You need to limit the spread by preventing yourself from catching it and spreading it to others. I guess that depends on how responsible the person in question is, not whether the diagnosis was confirmed or not. It's a great point you're making though. What? If you suspect it, you have to assume you have it. What kind of moronic agenda are you trying to push? You misunderstand. I'm saying you have to act as if you have it at all times regardless of whether you suspect you have it. Yes, I know what you mean. When my sinuses would get stuffy, cigarettes would taste different. They were almost entirely unenjoyable. Same for me. It made cigarettes taste like marshmallows awkwardly enough. I care. And I'm really sorry this happened to you. That really sucks. I know it doesn't matter, but know some people care about your well-being. And we are all ing angry about it too. I couldn't have said it better than this. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Because everything is voluntary, it basically means it is up to the individual business owner and their employees to enforce masks. I'm a manager of a small food retail business, and even though our employees, who are mostly high school / early college students, had some misgivings, we insisted that masks be worn unless you're eating or drinking. We also limited people to 10 and learned a lot of people cannot count that high. There are the people who forget to wear a mask, but that is fine as long as they wear one when we ask. We have a no mask no service policy. There were some customers that were really unhappy to wear masks, but at least they did it. Then there are the ones that F*** with you. There was a guy, not a customer, since he came with a friend and did not make a purchase. who had a mask worn under his chin. I ask him to put it on, and he says okay, smiles, but doesn't do it. I keep asking, and finally he puts it on. I continue serving his friends, and he takes off his mask and walks over to me and starts asking me questions. At this point I'm shaking with anger and I ask him to leave. He says okay, but he stays, smirking at me. Finally threatened to call the police, something I really didn't want to do because of all the stuff with police brutality. And the dude was black, which I'm not sure if it's entirely relevant, since I would much prefer to solve any situation without having to resort to police. He finally left, but damn, I have a responsibility to my guys, using guys as gender neutral here, since about 70% of our crew are girls. Things are just crazy. My coworker still doesn't have her smell and taste back. She tested positive in the beginning of April. Dumb question, but does this mean she can eat much more healthy foods than normal? I like to imagine, if I had no sense of taste, that I'd be drinking green smoothies and superfoods all day, but there's probably reasons why that doesn't happen, right? The opposite's been true for her, from what I've understood. She is plant-based, and has continued to be plant-based after COVID. She's incredibly frustrated, and she's spoken to me about fearing never getting it back, and eating terribly just in hopes of tasting something again. Sorry, how were you not allowed? Nobody can stop you from wearing a bloody mask. In the beginning, there were quite a few employers who wouldn't let their workers wear masks because they didn't want to scare the customers. I would wear one anyway. Who are they to tell me how to protect myself? It drives me nuts hearing stuff like this. To keep from scaring customers, we wore them anyways, and were told to take them off. I had a scarf I wore and took off whenever I saw store managers coming around. They cited dress code a lot of the time. I will be incredibly surprised if we don't see a class action lawsuit. We care. There are plenty of people who care, dear. Maybe too little, too late, but know that people care. Those drama class lessons seem to be paying off. I'm glad you found them helpful. Maybe you can try to learn empathy next. Not even our president. You lost me here. My friend's cousin's sister's boyfriend's asshole fell out from a covered event. Wear your underwear.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video. And if you are new, subscribe and click on the bell icon.